Hello, this is Dr. Samuel Kisseadoo, your friend, speaking in Virginia in the United States. Let's have a short discussion on career development or profession. There are other things you can add to what I'm going to say, okay? Just stimulate your interest for you to discuss, come up with ideas with the one you're going to marry. Well, you carry these ideas into marriage too. It's not only for courtship, but this is specifically if you're courting. A few suggestions, okay? And they'll help you. Number one, during your courtship, definitely discuss, number one, what both of you believe and know. In other words, you are sure of. Individually and corporately, which means together, each of you first, and then together. What is God's calling and vocation? What God has called you for your life, and how a particular career choice and any professional development will support or enhance your original calling. Calling is not only for ministry. Called to be an accountant, called to be a giver, called to be a peacemaker. You can name hundreds of them. Called to be a businessman or woman, called to be a politician of a kind. There are different types of politicians. Called to be a leader who may not be a politician. Called to be a teacher for children, for teenagers, for young adults. Then you become a lecturer at what level? Become a professor. Called to be a researcher, researching. Okay? Called to be an inventor of a kind. You see, called to be a writer of books, writer of articles, newspapers, articles for magazines. Called to be what? You see. Well, for Christians, they talk about call for the gospel and for the extension of God's kingdom in music, in pastoral duties as a pastor, maybe in leadership in the church as deacon or elder, as a singer in the church, as someone who works on prisoners, on disabled children, or disabled people in general, physically challenged, they put it that way too. Old people, young people, called to the sick in the hospital, called to hospital workers, called to the villages, called to the cities, called to the inner city. And you can go on and on and on. Even called to be a pilot, called to man or run some ship or something, called to be a lawyer, a doctor, and an IT guy or girl or IT woman, information technology, right? And called to be a gardener, okay? Called to be an agriculturist, an architect, a builder, a decorator, internal decorator. Discuss it for yourself, and then the two of you, what you brought to the table. Sometimes we come and we are still studying. So agree that what I'm studying, I'm going to be this, not just what you're going to do, what you're going to be. Now, when students come to my office, I'm a professor of biology, okay? And I ask them, what are you going to be after school? They tell me what they're going to do. And I tell them, that is not the question I'm asking you. What are you going to be? Because after your retirement, you must be a consultant of a kind. You should be in a position where people will call upon you for something. You see, for your expertise, for your experience, for your know-how. Okay? So don't go just from job to job. In some instances, for a few years and things, you want to accumulate some money and you are learning. But if you go from job to job and then you retire, you are not known for anything. Be known for something. Be the brand. Okay? For some of us, I knew I was a school teacher, and it is enhancing my preaching and my teaching of God's word as a divine calling. That's personal. Number 2, in your discussion, have a career choice that wisely aligns or goes with or promotes your talents and gifts in order to adequately develop yourself and sharpen your expertise. People choose all kinds of things because it gives money. You study so well, you are so well versed in economics and computers, in law, accounting, physics, chemistry, biology, history, geography, marketing, procurement. You go on, see, and then he begins to be a taxi driver. He was in the inner city, in New York City, in Atlanta, Georgia, in London, in Paris, Johannesburg, and Melbourne, Australia, in Japan, or Toronto. Taxi fetches money. Okay, you may make some money for some time, but then you do that all your life, and you never really use your degree. I don't know God's will for you. I'm not saying you are wrong. I'm not God. And I don't know your mind. I don't know what God spoke to you. But let's be careful about that. See, because the car you're riding, someone had to go to school and toil, sweat to produce the engine and the parts of the car. You see, I'm doing business. As if going to school is not necessary. Doing business. Are you serious? That going to school is not necessary? And they refer to their mates who do business and therefore employ some of them. But they're employing them for parts of the business they cannot do. You see, even if it's music you are doing, music business and all this, the things you are selling, business selling microphones, speakers, and selling this, and selling that, who should make them? For you to sell. So, buying and selling, marketing, doing business, wonderful. But don't make it sound like I don't need school. Who should go to school and then produce the phone for you to use and call it cell phone? Business didn't produce the cell phone. Business only markets the cell phone. Okay? Unless you have a business where you have producers of cell phone, producers of this, and then you sell it so the business is self-sustaining. You don't get anything from anywhere concerning what you are selling. You sell engine parts and you make them yourself in a factory and then you go to sell and things. But even that, okay? So have a career choice, but make sure the career choice goes with your talents and gifts. Don't pass through this life just making money, getting mansions, getting things, and not using your talents and gifts and abilities unless that talent, gift, and ability is meant to buy and sell. I don't know. But it is between you and God. And you know yourself, I don't. Okay? See, one thing, if a student who graduates or coming out of school or a person growing up should find out, this thing I want to do to make money, number 1, goes with my talents and gifts. Number 2, it gives me satisfaction and contentment that I'm using my being well. Number 3, it is producing experience of some kind which I can share or make me do other things or things better. It is also glorifying God. There's no corruption involved, and there's no seduction and deception involved in this kind of deals I'm making and calling it business. Okay? And then I can pass it on as legacy to others, become an expert, become a consultant, become someone you can approach to help you do what you did. So look at all those factors when you are choosing a career to help you also develop yourself. So at the end, when you retire, don't become a corrupt person with money, a corrupt person with a name for invention but very corrupt, or your family life is in shambles, you are never able to properly marry, then you didn't pass life itself. Because the number one thing about life is home, marriage, family. That's where all of us come from. And you can't fail there and say, I'm doing business. You are on radio and television, politician, and I work here and I do this and that. No, success at home. Number 3, discuss what you seek to become, not just what you want to seek to do for money or for profit or salary or wages, in order to become a form of expert or consultant in your particular field when you go on retirement. Already mentioned this. Discuss that and have that aim or purpose. If your partner doesn't know, teach your partner, guide, go for seminars, Google good stuff, read good books, go to experts. See, and successful people or people who have the knowledge and the wisdom and get information and guidance. Number 4, make sure you do good work that will fetch stable income for the family. Because when you're courting and you're going to settle down, one person becomes the guinea pig being sacrificed, and the other person becomes the monkey doing the work, or the tractor, or the machine. The other person is just the consumer, then there's a problem. So discuss it well. When I married, I wasn't working seriously. I had finished a master's degree, but I knew I was going to be a high school teacher of biology. I was going to be a head of a biology department in a school called Prempeh College in Ghana. You see. So either you are working or on the way to work, definitely, conclusively, and genuinely and sincerely. See, it doesn't have to be big, but it must be reasonable and it must fetch some income to begin your marriage and your family life. Okay? Don't say I'm doing business, I'm selling cars, and you have a brother in some country that brings 1 car a year, and then you say, I'm selling cars. You see, you have a complimentary card, and the card is saying toilet paper, biscuit or cookie, and milk incorporated. And I go there and a few can or tin milk cans are sitting there, a few bottles of milk, and some few toilet rolls, and then a little bit of some biscuit or cookie, and you have that card telling you are managing director of the company. That is not a company. From buying and selling, which is not even significant or lucrative. What I'm saying is this: before you marry the person, find out what he is definitely going to do or what he or she is doing now, especially the man, Adam, who was there in the garden before Eve came to help him. And where, of course, he's going to live with you as well. Not in the family house for years. I'm not saying don't start there. In some instances, you have a plan to stay there for a month, 2 months, 3 months. Sometimes it's detached, self-contained. Your daddy gave you, but don't remain there in your daddy's house. Learn to have your own place, build your family without a lot of family interference, like you brought a woman as a gift to the family. I've brought a gift, and then she's being used by everybody. That is old-fashioned, outdated, outmoded, old-fashioned, archaic, and you must change your mind if you are still in a family house after all this time. Okay, and parents and family members, leave your young people or your married people to marry properly without interference for it to bless them and bless you. Okay? Anyway. Number 5. Find out discuss what you can conveniently, humbly, and appropriately begin to do in order to wait as you prepare for the real work of your dreams, just in case the opportunity is not immediately available for you to fully launch into full-blown professional activity. You finish your studies. You finish your preparation. You learn a trade. You don't have the opportunity for the hairdressing, for the sewing, for the carpentry, for your law firm, clinic as a doctor, as an accountant, well-known doing taxes and all that, or an accountant in a nice office, okay? A farmer with land and maybe machines and a few people you have employed for some vegetable, farm or some corn or some other forms of carbohydrates and other crops or radio station, some communication thing. Or even as a career politician, okay? Not just elected because they couldn't find anybody and just go there and squander money for 4 years in the election to enrich yourself and get 2 houses and some cars. That's not what I'm talking about. You have been called to represent people, you see, to be involved in the science of government we call politics properly, with meaning and purpose. If it's writing and you're a journalist, do it good, honest reporting, journalism, par excellence, okay? Do it with excellence, okay? If you have been called into ministry, not because you failed the exam or opportunity came or because your daddy was the pastor, so they force you to be a pastor when you don't have the qualities to be a pastor. You see? If God has ordained and prearranged that, fine, I don't know. You see? Or you force your wife to buy almost take over the ministry. When somebody else could be called for it. Sometimes you don't trust people. You told to set up the thing, you leave it and other people come to squander and take over all kinds of people. But why should you allow that? If God is leading, God knows who to take over from you. Nothing is for us. It's all for God. Okay? So if God has called you to be a pastor, whatever it is, please make sure you have a source of income. Unless it's under a denomination well established where they pay you. That's a different story. And they give you a vehicle, they give you a building, they give you this and that. But a number of people, and you see, I'm a healer, I am a prophet, and selling this and selling this oil, laying hands, calling themselves life coach, special marriage counselor, and this one, overnight, he reads a few books, sets up an office, he's counseling people for marriage. When your own marriage, you don't know your left from your right, because it looks lucrative. You see? Or forced to establish a school, and you're not teaching anything to the children who enroll over there. You see? So, cut your coat according to your size. Don't be a square peg in a round hole. Do it according to your talents, gifts, abilities, and anything you can do for the meantime whilst you are waiting for the real thing to come. Humbly. Sometimes we are not humble enough. Comparison. And people push us. And that's when dishonesty and all kinds of things come in. And then you don't even know your left from your right. And then he has to do something else. Cut corners. You see, do whatever you do to be able to make the money to go with the so-called dreams that he has. Sometimes they are a real dream, but can become a nightmare because it didn't become a sharp vision being pursued. Dream means God can do. But with prayer and the word of God and faith, finally, it becomes a vision which you pursue. Sharp vision. Many dreams are not fulfilled because they never really became sharp vision. And the test of your vision, how soon you give it up. And don't be evolving and evolving and evolving. See, being blown by the wind because there's more money here, more popularity. Be careful about popularity and money. And of course, women. Being driven by the woman or man thing, and then you drift into something you otherwise not do. I'm doing business with him, with her, and with this and that. And in the end, it becomes messy. There are people who even intentionally worm their way into the lives of other people. Some women to steal other people's husbands, to do business with them, to get them in immorality and adultery and all that, and squander their money. And they marry you for property, find a way of divorcing you, or divorce comes, and they make sure they get larger share of the property. All these things they don't go beyond the grave. There's a serious account you're going to give, and God is waiting for you. Okay, and you marry people as an opportunist because he's a medical officer, and he's this so-and-so son, and he's this special politician, and he's this doctor, he's this lawyer, he's this rich person, and he's this serious businessman or businesswoman. He runs this special station or factory or special manufacturer, and then become an opportunist just because of the money and the popularity and what you are going to get. So nothing is actually developed. There's no career as such. This is a parasite on somebody else in a relationship. That is not good. It doesn't help society to advance. Okay? It's just like those who want to have sexual affair with girls before they give them a job. They are destroyers of nations. You see, you have a number of girls in square pegs, serious square pegs in very round holes. They don't fit at all. But because of the boss, sexual affair, adultery, fornication, immorality. So they are there, being promoted, receiving raise in salaries, performing duties, traveling with the boss. They serve on boards, board of this, board of that, and this board of this. You see? And God is looking and recording and checking. Let's be very careful. Let's build our nations, build our communities, build our churches, build places. The favoritism and all this immoral, corrupt stuff doesn't help our courtships and our marriages and our homes and the society. Let's work on them, please. Let all of us, starting from me and you, let us help. Okay? Number 6, which group of people do you intend to impact and help to make progress with your career? Which group of people? Is it clothing for the children? Clothing for students? Is it clothing for adults? Clothing for older people? Clothing for which group of people? Or food items, feeling, see, you carve a niche, N-I-C-H-E. You say in ecology, I'm an ecologist too, okay? What niche you carve for yourself? You see, I'm an environmental science. I have a master's in environmental science, okay? And ecology. But I don't use it for the politics part, okay? I teach it and help to give facts about the environment. Also a tropical biologist, okay? Just to let you know, you see. But I must find out how I impart this knowledge in one way or the other, how to use the biology to affect the ministry, as well as the microbiology, which I teach as well, and anatomy and physiology. I did all kinds of biologies in different countries, okay? But how do I use that, you see, to bless and help people? You see, it's what I'm trying to talk about. Which group of people are you affecting or impacting? Okay. Number 7, how your career paths and professional activities are going to merge with your marital, domestic, family, and other activities for the best results, which is what I'm talking about. Or you're going to merge. How is it going to be merged with? Or how you're going to merge that with other things. You see, the biology helps me a lot, especially for couples. You see, in the sexual area, in the differences between male and female area, conflict resolution, here and there, differences, I apply it all over the place. If you listen to me in my seminars, you know what I'm talking about. Okay? I do some tutorials also in biology for people as necessary at certain times to help them. Okay? Number 8, the commitment to your family life first. Without any skewed or lopsided devotion towards work that will negatively affect both of you and the entire family. Discuss how you be committed to your family first and your marriage. Start from courtship, committed to the relationship, and how you are going to conduct the business, the career, the profession, going to occupy the post, your travels to bring goods to sell, your travels for conferences, ministry. If you're going to be a missionary or the apostle here, and you're a pastor, you're overseer, you're a bishop, you're apostle, you name it. All kinds of people. Evangelists running around places, planting churches, doing whatever it is. Family first. And how you are going to do everything to ensure that you don't have a lopsided, it is skewed in one direction. It's not balanced. Is what I'm talking about. Balanced career with your family. Balanced work of God with your family. I have one more. Number 9. Discuss any immediate sacrifices and financial or time or location commitment. Not running around but being here. Or you're the type that must go from place to place without sticking yourself in one place because that is where you get your benefits. Be careful. So you must sacrifice some finances, some time to be in a certain place. You feel a little uncomfortable. You wish you could go there. The grass is greener, And all these sacrifices you need to make as a realistic step. Not just emotional something, it's nice to do, but a realistic, wise, calculated, measured step for future success of your professional dreams. Don't take steps by copying people, listening to wrong advice. Be very careful about it. Or family member is pushing you. If yours also is getting involved with father, mother, brother, friend in ministry, and you're married and your husband happen to be a pastor, then you're so glued to your dad's ministry, mom's ministry, brother, or former church, or former pastor has captured you. And you can't go with your husband to do what you're supposed to do as a couple. Then the devil is using a good thing to stop you from getting the best thing. And you need to break loose from it. And this happens to people. It's the same way he's doing business with the dad, with the brother, a certain partner, with the pastor, a certain leader in church, former classmates. And there's something to do with your husband or wife must come first. You two don't pull the one away from something very, very nice. And then he's following you as a wife or she's following you as a husband and he doesn't see what you are doing. Be careful about that also. That has been a problem for some people too. You marry the person goes broke. Talent's not being used. Some of you marry people who used to be on fire with prayer and the word. And then some years later, you see the woman is your deflated balloon. This man has destroyed the woman's spirituality. You see. Sometimes by controlling and keeping, he doesn't want the wife to rise above him. And sometimes you want to dominate your husband. Oh, this competition between spouses. That's bad. It's not glorifying God. It's not making you go forward. So work things out and know who you are going to marry. But must have an aim and a purpose and a vision that is pursuing. For example, if you relocate to start working, or a partner travels away for a period of time to further enhance professional development plans, work well so that by the time everything is over, the family is not destroyed. He goes, it's supposed to be 2 years in Canada, 2 years in Africa, 2 years maybe in the UK or South America or somewhere in the United States. And say, his master's, let him do PhD. Then he's adding the PhD another 3 years, some 4 years. Oh, you realize he's been there for 8 years. And some can't get visa to join them. Or the woman too doesn't want to leave where he is, gets pregnant, goes to have the baby, and comes back with her club and family, and he says he's doing business, so he can't leave the country. All kinds of things. Be honest, sincere, organized, discursive, reasonable, in a planning, praying, process to fit into the plans of God during the courtship and in the marriage. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but after 5 years, 6 years of marriage, you begin to say, oh, we could have done better. Let's do it now. Agree and cooperate to do. Before you leave this world and you didn't make the impact you are supposed to make. You can call me in the United States on 1-917-741-0643. 1-917-741-0643. 1-917-741-0643. Dr. Samuel Kisseadoo. Kisseadoo at msn.com is the email. Kisseadoo at msn.com. So put Dr. Samuel Kisseadoo, Kisseadoo, into amazon.com. You see my books. Even Barnes and Noble has some. Okay. Google my name to see plenty of stuff to read. Go to challenge bookstores in Ghana. My books are there. In Ghana, call 020-812-6533. Ghana code is 233-220-812-6533. In Kumasi, call 0275-353-802. The books are there. Okay, or go to Baptist Bookstore opposite Anglican High School at the Makobe in Kumasi. Or call the numbers I've given. If you want any of the books, we can send some to you, okay? There are seminars, free seminars in Ghana, okay, from Tamale to Cape Coast to Accra and places. You call us. And anywhere in the world you want counseling, prayer, books, programs, and we'll get in touch with you. We work with churches, ministries, pastors, leaders, institutions, communities. We're an evangelistic and teaching Christian ministry called Fruitful Ministries International Incorporated. And I'm the president, okay? May God bless you. There's a broadcast every Saturday morning, 5:30 a.m. to 6 a.m. Ghana time on Joy 99.7 FM. 5:30 in the morning to 6 in the morning. Once a week, Saturdays, called Hope for Your Family. Put in the internet, myjoyonline.com, myjoyonline.com. Go to live radio. You can listen. God bless you.